VeeFam, welcome back to another episode of the VeeFam Sessions. My name is Mr. Messer, but you can call me Rob, and I am over the moon excited to be joined today by former VeeFriends mod and community lead for the World of Women, none other than the world famous Kashvi. Kashvi, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Thank you for having me here. I don't know about world famous, but I really, really, really appreciate the fabulous intro. I'm feeling great today. It's been a productive Wednesday, and I'm excited to be on this podcast. I see that you've been consistent for the longest time, and you have all my respect because I know what it takes to grind out in the podcast game and edit those long, long episodes. So it's incredible to see what you've built here and to now be a part of it.
Well, I'm so thrilled, and thank you. That means the world, especially coming from you. Um, and to be on the sidelines looking at what you've been doing and building, it's very admirable. But I wanted to, with this audience, I wanted to share not only what you're doing personally, but you've been around since day one. And we're in a place now that so many new people are coming in that aren't native to Web3. So it was very special to me to have your perspective. So I can't wait to dive in. But before we get to that, I always like to ask, take going all the way back for real context. Could you just give us like the 55-second cliff notes on who you are prior to ever getting into Web3?
Okay, the 55-second cliff note. I think I can do this. Yeah, let's go. LFG. 55-second cliff note goes like this. I started working in the content industry and the creator economy when I was 16 years old because I've always, always, always been passionate about social media, about connection, about community, and about just building relationships. I think ever since I was in like the third grade, I used to download every social app that was released and I used to create an account on it. I used to explore what's happening and try to be on top of things as much as possible. Yes, that also means that I knew too much too early, but I feel like that's only ever been an advantage for me because I feel like as you grow up in the social industry, you just learn about how platforms work and how to stay on top of them. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
started with my first internship when I was 16. Then I did a bunch of freelance gigs and I just tried to be as involved and embedded as I could in the creator economy. And I worked with a lot of different clients. I did a little bit of like artist centric clients, then I did business savvy clients, I did copywriting, graphic designing, community building, but in like the Instagram way. And then I stumbled onto Web3 because I was very active on Twitter even before Web3 came along. And every smart marketer that I knew that was, creator savvy started talking about Web3 and Ethereum and Bitcoin and Doge and all that good stuff. And then NFTs came along. So that's basically how I got into the whirlwind that is Web3. But even prior to that, I was just always very internet savvy and I always liked staying ahead of tech. I don't know if that
Uh,
was 55 seconds or
I
longer. Yeah.
love it. It doesn't matter. You will not be penalized at all at any point
Okay,
during
good.
this. Um, when was the first time, and it's obviously you have a pulse on social, but do you remember a specific time where you first came across Gary Vee?
Okay, this is a funny story. The first time I came across Gary Vee was when I was 15 years old. So that was 7 years ago. And I had a crush on this boy. And he liked Gary Vee a lot. And we were in the same class together. And we used to talk about social media. And then he told me about Gary Vee and how he really likes this guy. And I found Gary extremely annoying. And I never listened to Gary's content actually up until 2 years ago when I started my first internship. And then my first mentor at that internship was also a huge Gary Vaynerchuk fan. So as a part of my assignment, he was like, you have to listen to this keynote of Gary talking about his clouds and dirt anthology. And that's when
Mm,
I like picked up on his content even more. That's when I like hit the follow button on Instagram. But when I really got immersed into Gary's content was the pandemic, where I was like doing house chores and listening to the podcast on the side and reading his book and all of that. But yeah, my first touch point with Gary Vee was because I had a crush on a boy who liked Gary Vee.
that's funny. That's a first, but a lot of people do have that same sentiment where they're not in love with him the first time.
Yeah.
It's more of the opposite. Super funny though. I
Yeah.
wonder if he's still following. Do you know? If
He
wonder if
is.
he found the 100.
He likes my Instagram stories once in a while, and he's super confused by like what I'm doing and how I have a photo with Gary Vee all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And yeah, I haven't met him in a while though, but it is his birthday this month. So I'm gonna wish him
Oh, well, happy birthday.
happy birthday to
So
him.
you're getting into Web3.
Yeah.
How well the mini story ends that you end up being one of the first moderators for the VeeFriends Discord in May of 2021. Tell us about how you stumbled upon that, or maybe it was on purpose.
Yeah, so the May 2021 VeeFriends Discord days were insane. It wasn't even called VeeFriends back then. It was called like the Gary Vee Discord or something before we gave it that official name. I remember listening to Gary Vee's podcast every single day in May 2021. And during every podcast episode, he was talking about NFTs, about innovation, and how he's going to start his own Discord eventually. And I wanted to be ready for it. Now, I've been a Discord user since 2016, so I've had some experience with the tool. And I had been reading and learning about Web3 since February. So
Mm,
I felt like, okay, if I prepare myself enough and if I show up enough, I could actually be making some good relationships and some good friendships out of this thing that Gary is planning to do. And that was always my goal, really. I didn't have any, like, of course I joined crypto because okay, I want to see if I can make some gains and do some trading, but I always saw like NFTs as a means of making friends along the way. And that's exactly what I was doing. So the Discord is launched. Gary's team doesn't have any moderators. It's just them on the server trying to figure this whole thing out. And within the first couple of days, they realized that, like, okay, we need to get this under control. We need people that are familiar with the tool and are across different time zones to support with
mm,
this. So I think they got like 2 to 3 mods on board, and then Corso and me were the fourth and the fifth. I remember it being super late night hours in the US, and that's like noon for me here in India. And there was a fight going on between like two people in the community. Like, they weren't like token holders. This is like before the NFT
good job.
launches even happened, but they were just like trolls, and I was kind of sorting them out. And one member from the VeeFriends team was awake, and he saw how I dealt with it, so he recommended me to Zane, who was the head of community for VeeFriends at the time. And the next day, Zane reaches out and he's like, "Hey, one of our team members saw how well you dealt with that. Would you be open to joining us as a moderator?" So that's how it came to be. And of course, I was like, hell yes. I had finals going on at the time. But I was just like, they were online and we were in the middle of the pandemic. I was like, heck yeah, I want to do this. And that's basically how I got introduced to Web3 community management as a career. Um, so yeah, that's Web3 VeeFriends 2021 May.
That's that's awesome, and like that's how it happens so often. Especially like my wife did a lot of moderating more in Solana when Solana wasn't cool, and she got so many gigs just from people noticing how you talk to people. And
Hmm.
it sounds like your community is and culture is in your blood, and we'll get into that, and it comes very natural to you. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just how to deal with people and to know that you
Yeah.
were ahead of the curve on the tech side. And it looks like you were all lined up. Out of curiosity, because I had Zane on here, I had Burge, and I forget he mentioned the second one, and you said you and Corso were 4 and 5. Do you remember who that third hire was?
It was Alicia. Fury plays the cello. She's no
Okay,
longer on the mod team either, but Alicia, that was her. There
got it.
was the people on the mod team. The original mod team were Burge, Fury, uh, Post, Corso, me, and Thomas Mayer. I think Thomas is still there. Yeah. Oh, and there was Jordy as well, and then Crystal and everyone else came along.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, um, you
Oh,
you
and Ben
mentioned,
Kessler. Sorry, I had to give a shout out to Ben.
of course, please.
Yeah.
And it's always fun to hear these old
Yeah.
stories from that time, because it went from 0 to hundreds of thousands within days, if not weeks. It was,
It was crazy.
Zane mentioned like that there's no handbook. You guys were learning how to do this on the go, how to deal with these kind of issues, what happens when this happens. Like there was no ticket system at the beginning. Like you kind of were just kind of going with the flow, literally. From in a community is just going to be it's a through line through this podcast, but definitely through the conversation I'm hoping to have with you, because you're so close to it. But as far as like, the VeeFriends is known as a kind community, but
Yes.
there are issues like that. Like you just said, you got your shot from how you dealt with the situation with people not, being the bigger person, we'll say. Uh, in those early days when there's no handbook, like what was the process of dealing with that? Because at some point, like you're actually naturally gifted, but at some point, like there has to be a plan in place. Burge said that Gary said on a call to you, one of the first calls, that he didn't want people permanently banned. So
Yeah.
like it's an interesting dynamic. Like how, from what you remember, how was it dealt with?
Well, I think in the beginning, you're just making your own playbook. And for a team like VeeFriends, it's a lot easier to do given the extensive media experience that the team had. And because this isn't the first time they were building a community. Like, sure, they were doing it for the first time on Discord, but they've done it on other platforms.
Mm,
So the main thing you need to understand is, how do conversations work? How do people want to interact with each other? What are the prompts that you can give to keep people engaged and excited? And the team at VeeFriends strategized very well around that and built their own playbook on what sort of space they were creating, not just on the VeeFriends Discord, but even in terms of, the early Clubhouse culture, the spaces now, and even of course, the IRL events, which are such a big part of the VeeFriends community. So when you're building your own playbook from scratch, I would say with VeeFriends, it was not entirely scratch, right? He has literally written books about how
mm,
to build your presence. So I think what helped us is that we had a very defined set of core values that we were about as people. And I think those are something we continue to embody, like kindness, empathy, ambition, conviction, tenacity. VeeFriends was literally built on 268 qualities that you need to make it as an entrepreneur or be successful in whatever you want to do. So when you have your values that are super clear and you have other platforms that you've previously built presence on, you just have to take a little bit from both and create that new playbook while listening to the team that's on ground. So I think what was very helpful is that we had weekly touch points with the team, as people who were at the forefront with the community every day to escalate our feedback and to tell the team that, hey, this is what's working, this is what's not. This is something that Gary said that pissed people off, but this is something that Gary said that made people really happy.
yeah.
So when you just figure out that balance and you keep communicating internally as well as externally, the lines get a little less blurry.
That makes a ton of sense, and thank you for articulating that so clearly. I want to instead of just reading the quote, I want to play a quick little mini fun game. I'm going to read this quote, and I want to see if you can remember who wrote it or said it. If there
Sure.
was one word to describe Kashvi, it would be community. And then this person goes on to say, always reading through community feedback and flagging to the team that helps create the bridge of transparency between the business and its community.
Is
Do you
that
remember?
May?
That is May.
I
That,
knew it. I
that
knew
is
it.
May. Um, she wrote
Yes.
this great thing on you, and those two parts like jumped out, and it made me think of when you were talking, that being on the
Yeah.
front lines and just kind of synthesizing what you're seeing, and digesting it, and transporting it for
Where did
the
you
greater.
find that? Did you
I
find
found
it
that on your LinkedIn.
on my LinkedIn, right? Yeah, she's awesome. Like, I just want to give a massive shout out to both May and Zane. Like Zane was there for I think the first 6 months that we were all moderating, and then May kind of took over with Corso, and then eventually Daniel came in, who's also amazing, by the way. But I've just learned so much through following them on socials and seeing how they interact with the rest of the community. I truly think that when we talk about people who are writing that playbook on the go, these are like a few people that have, walked the walk and not just talked the talk.
Mm.
Yeah.
So on the timeline, and I know a lot of your World of Women experience overlaps with this.
Hmm.
You were a mod from May 2021
Yes.
all the way to September 23, which is a long time. A lot happened in
Yeah.
that time span. We have bull runs, we have bears, we have many amazing announcements. We have some, community issues that popped up. When you look back, and it's like I said, it's a large amount of time. When you look back, are there any learnings? I mean, let's look at it from both perspectives. Let's look at you as a person and a professional, and then the team. Are there anything that jumps out at you as far as learnings or lessons, or when you look back on those years that you
Well,
take away and treasure now?
Well, I can't speak entirely on behalf of the VeeFriends team. I feel like someone who's working there full time could offer better perspective. But as just someone who's working in Web3 as a professional full time, I feel like the biggest takeaway from me has been that you have to build relationships and provide as much value as you can, because it really is about that jab, 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 right hook, as Gary says. You have to give value to people and then just trust that it's going to come back to you in one way or another. And you have to really listen when someone is saying something. I feel like a common trend in a lot of Web3 projects is that they're very dismissive of their community. But that's not how we operate at World of Women. And I know that that's not how VeeFriends operates either. We're listening, and we're trying to acknowledge every piece of feedback that's coming our way. And we're trying to communicate with the community even through the downturns. And sure, there may have been moments where, we didn't live up to a certain standard, but best believe that we're taking it in our stride and moving forward and making sure that we're doing everything we can to make people feel seen and heard. And in terms of just building through the bear, I think one-on-one community building is just as important as gathering people together in groups. You need to be talking to people on an individual level, understanding their individual needs and how you can fulfill them, because only then can you address them as a collective, and only then can you truly understand what is the mission and value overlap between these individuals, because that's the secret ingredient that will get them together. And that is the basis of every touch point that you create for a community to interact. So that's just my 2 cents, though. Like, I'm
No,
just very people centric, uh, which is why I may be biased about this answer. But yeah, I'm sure there's other technical things as well, like, okay, do your research and like educate yourself more during lulls like that. But to me, it's always been about people.
I love that. Uh, there's obviously kindness is a through line. There's so much going through. As much of the things catch the radar that aren't positive, or there's a lot of positivity that hits the timeline, but there's even more so, I'd say, behind closed doors. There's a lot of humble generosity going on. Is there anything that you can remember, maybe a moment, maybe somebody made a gesture or gave somebody something that you remember, that you kind of want to blow the whistle on for?
Oh my God, I can think of so many wholesome moments in the V Friends history. But I think one of my favorite nights will always be back in May 2021. Gary was doing giveaways for VeeFriends NFTs, and Corso and I were gifted gift codes by him and the team directly. And I feel like it's the most generous thing anyone had done for me at the time. And I still haven't had the chance to like talk to Gary one on one, being like, why me? But I get the subtle cues, and I think it was life changing in so many ways because it gave me the confidence that I needed to make my space a little bit in Web3 and to know that I belong there, even though I may not have the financial means to afford a VeeFriend. And yeah, it really meant a lot to me. And I know it meant a lot to Corso as well. And we have such similar stories about getting into the space that
Mm.
I also made a really good friend out of this whole thing. So if Corso's listening to this, shout out to him.
Corso, I think he should. He's a fan. He's was the first person to be on twice, because he's
Yeah.
Corso and he's that special to us. Yes, that I remember hearing that, but I
Well,
forgot up until
also,
this moment.
yeah. Even before that though, my favorite part was that while these giveaways were going on, the Discord used to be super, super hectic. Like insanely hectic. You cannot imagine. Like we had a 1 minute slow mode timer on just so that like people can actually read what's happening in the chat and that it's not constantly moving. So the mods, all of us used to hang out in the VC together, and they were all rooting so hard for me to get a V friend that while Gary was typing in the announcements channel and they could see Gary typing, they would like start chanting my name in hopes that Gary would give me a V friend. So the whole mod team at the time, I think, really manifested this for me. And a lot of community members kept pinging my name as well when Gary asked who the next V friend should go to. So it was really amazing, I think, to see so many people rally around you and believe in you and want what's best for you. It's very rare to come across a group of people that are just rooting for you, and it's a wonderful feeling.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And man,
Yeah.
if only like there was a video or something. But it was
There is
a
one.
true,
I have a video
really of that moment.
of
Oh,
that
I need that.
moment. Because I'm gonna see if I can, dude. It was at like 6 a.m. my time. I had stayed up the whole night, and you won't believe, but my parents before that night were actually like a little mad at me because they were like, "You're ruining your sleep over something that's like not even real. Like, you think Gary knows who you are? Like, he doesn't give a shit. Like, you should just go to bed and stop ruining your health." And then the next morning, I was like, good morning.
Yeah.
You're not gonna believe what just fucking happened. And they really couldn't. They were just like, oh, damn, we were wrong about this.
Yeah. I mean, the monetary value of a gift go back then, oh goodness,
Yeah, yeah.
tens of
But they were
tens
also
of times.
very much on board with my decision to not sell. And I wouldn't sell it. Just
Mm,
no. Yeah. I'm very sentimentally attached to my gift code.
I love that, and it's very special. Do you partake in the gift go conversations? Like, do you jump in those, or are you just kind of doing your thing, watching from the sidelines?
I'm mostly doing my thing watching from the sidelines, but so in the middle, I got super caught up with like university stuff. So I think I missed a couple of deadlines to like claim gifts. So literally,
Got it.
like yesterday, I made a spreadsheet of every single gift, what I've received, what's pending, and what action item I have to take with the team to move forward. And I am in a couple of the group chats, so I do look now and then, and I know what the common sentiment is, and I do empathize with it very much.
Mm.
Yeah. Are you in the gift code chats as well?
No, I am. If you're on the sidelines, I'm in the upper 500 sections, just
Oh wow.
talking to people that are also down there. But I I think it's a very interesting dynamic from a community standpoint, from being able to deploy empathy, like you just mentioned. There's very, I think goats is something that I like to chat about and learn. I think the microcosm of that, under the umbrella of community, under the umbrella of people maybe overextending themselves financially, is very interesting to me. So
It is.
anytime
It is.
I have a connection to talk about it, I'm interested in hearing the perspective. Um, so you spending all of this time cultivating relationships virtually. We
Yeah.
have May 22. Here comes VeeCon 1. We're not totally sure, besides some hype videos and speakers. We're not totally sure what it's going to be. Talk to me about your experience at VeeCon 22 when you walked in there.
Oh my God. I don't think I could ever forget VeeCon 22 because it was my first in-person crypto conference. Like, I had been to meetups and stuff, but like, like a whole conference that's creating an experience. It was my first time. And I, of course, came with World of Women because by then I had already worked with WoW for what, 6 to 8 months. And I joined World of Women in October 2021. And I was there part time as a community assistant. And then I became community manager in March 2022. So that was like 2 months before we went to VeeCon. And we did a lot of planning in terms of our booth and Yam's panel and our side event, which was at like a really nice rooftop location in Minneapolis. So overall, I was like, before coming into VeeCon, I was very nervous because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to see all these internet people in real life. I don't know what it's going to be like. And there's going to be like so many of the WoW community members there as well. And I'm probably going to meet Gary in person. I'm going to meet the team. It's going to be insane. And I think it lived up to every single expectation I had. It even exceeded it. And I think when I left that trip, I packed a bag of goodies, but a lot of like memories that I
Mm.
will treasure forever because you never forget the first in-person conference that you went to. And I was just welcomed with so much love. So many people knew who I was, and I was like, oh my God, what? Like, I was just like, I'm a fan of you. How do you know who I even am, And it was, yeah, there were so many beautiful moments, so many like hugs and like happy tears by the end of it as well. So yeah, it'll
It's so
always be a
surreal.
special experience. Yeah.
Um, Less than a year later, you on May 8th, 2023, you tweeted, GM so fired up that I'll be speaking on the VeeCon community stage with legendary members of the VeeFriends community.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you tag some accounts. Like how epic is this? The first and fitting. Fast forward a year later, the first ever community stage at VeeCon #2. You're on a amazing panel talking about community on the community stage with one of the best communities in the world. I think the best
Yeah.
community in the world.
I agree.
But I'm biased.
Me
Um,
too.
talk to us about that
Oh,
moment when you realize you got selected, and then when it actually happened.
it was a very, very surreal experience overall. Because I remember applying, like, I remember just like, opening it up on my phone, submitting my application, and just like hoping that something happens. And this was truly the best case scenario to be on the community stage alongside iconic members of the community. Anne Marie, I still talk to her very often because she's a WoW holder as well, and we often exchange notes on our marketing playbooks. I've just made so many awesome friendships through that journey. But in terms of the moment and just finding out, I was shocked. Like my jaw dropped when I got that email from Daniel. But I also felt like, you know what? I've got this. Because for the longest time, I've had this imposter syndrome that's made me think that I don't deserve any of the opportunities that have come my way. And I know that a lot of women feel like this very often, where we feel like, oh no, it's just luck. Oh no, I just got lucky. But I think when this happened, I was like, you know what? This feels so right. And I'm going to do my best to prep really well and to make this a good conversation and to make sure that I can share all the value that I have accumulated over the last 2 years in this space and to give it out and to just attend VCon 23 with more purpose, more passion, and a greater drive. I don't know, but it was an amazing experience overall. The team was so professional about it. The other panelists were wonderful. The crowd was great. The
Mhm.
location was fabulous. I actually hung back even after all the panels were over and the field was empty. It was just me, another WoW team member, and our film crew, and we saw the sunset from there, going like into the lake, and it was a very like I'm a like I love romanticizing things, and I was just like, this is probably one of my favorite sunsets ever. And today was a beautiful day, not just because I got to speak on this insanely cool panel, but because I got to meet so many fun people and earlier that day, we even had our WoW community breakfast, where we had like booked this Airbnb, and it was packed. Like everyone was there to celebrate World of Women and the community that we've built. So it really felt like everything came together, both my worlds with World of Women and VeeFriends in one space, and all the people that I've grown so close to over the last year and a half. And it was magical, especially
I
given how different it was from VeeCon 22. It was different, but in like its own special way.
I was gonna say that must have been so surreal to have kind of both your worlds colliding in such a magical setting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's been absolutely insane. I love how much overlap there is between the World of Women and VeeFriends community. Literally, like on my bedside, like that's my World of Women, and that's a gift that I got from the VeeFriends gift code. So
Are
both of them
you
are.
are you attending LA?
I am. Yeah,
Nice,
yeah.
amazing. Can't wait to jam.
Oh,
So with that, I think that's a great segue into your path that of World of Women. We just to for context, share your resume here. So you mentioned October 21, you became a community assistant. In January 22, you moved up to community manager. That was from January 22 to April 23, and then you've been the community lead ever since from April 2023.
yes.
VeeFriends and World of Women, ever like since the get, Gary kind of jumped in and supported a lot of communities, and some kind of some weren't long lived relationships. But World of Women is one that, from my perspective, has always kind of stuck. And I think just I know there's a lot of overlap in community members from VeeFriends to for you guys. I'm just curious if you think what you think about that. You know, are the communities very similar, and also like how are they different?
Yeah, that's a lovely question. I do think that yes, there is a lot of overlap, and I love how collaborative both our worlds are. We've worked with VeeFriends in an official capacity as well for booths at VeeCon, for side events, and not too recently, but very significant one. We did a collaboration with Hasbro, which is the board games company, and we released our own version of Monopoly, and one of the Monopoly players is actually a hot trooper from VeeFriends. And I
Oh,
think it was the first licensing deal that Gary did with another NFT project. So I think there's always just been such a collaborative spirit between the two projects, and it's very aligned in terms of values. It's all about empathy, ambition, kindness, inclusivity. When the foundations and the values of two partners are that clear, there's there's only going to be like a collaborative spirit. And Gary has been such a cheerleader. Not just Gary, the rest of his team, the VeeCon team, the VeeFriends team, they've always been so supportive of Fold of Women that like we've just always wanted to show up as well as we can, and be a community that Gary and his team are proud to be a part of. Like I think Andy holds WoW and a couple of others on the team, a lot of the women, Avery, Maha, they're all supporters of WoW. And in terms of how the communities are different, I think World of Women has a much nicher audience in terms of VeeFriends. Like VeeFriends is okay, people who are builders and entrepreneurs, but with WoW, we really like to zero in on women and allies, and our main focus is how we can create a seat at the table for them, and how we can ensure that there's more representation and inclusion in Web3. Um, so yeah, I think like those are the major differences. And of course, Gary's been around for a lot more years and has seen a lot more cycles than WoW has, but we're definitely finding our feet now as well. And we've actually entered a long-term partnership with Tezos. We announced
that's
it a couple of days ago, and it's going to be a new and exciting chapter. And out of all the things it enables us to do, it mostly just signals how WoW is actually here for the long run. And We've showed up at a lot of places and tried to signal it, but now it's set in stone that World of Women is not going anywhere. And we're going to keep creating a seat at the table for women as long as we can. And we're going to keep doubling down on impact and actually helping people. And that, I think, is something that VeeFriends is also very much aligned with, right? Like making a difference at the end of the day. Gary's main motto is to give more than he's taken. And that's my personal motto as well. So I really see that coming together in our own respective ways through the work we do.
I love that, and thank you for educating, because I think, I haven't been in the weeds of Web3 and what's been going on, but as much. But WoW is always out there. They're, like you just mentioned, the Tezos. You guys are always innovating, throwing amazing events all around the world. I just remember I got educated. I think the first time we met in Miami, um, for I don't know where we were at. I think at the VeeFriends takeover party, and
Yes.
the night after was the WoW gala,
Yes.
and everyone was dressed up, and I really learned a lot about the event and the community that night, and it's just always been impressive from someone that's
Oh, were
not
you
right.
at the gala?
No, but the party at the
Scope.
137 thing,
Yeah,
yeah, the
yeah.
Scope. Thank you. They're all mushing together. But yeah, at Scope, I know a lot of people came from the gala
Yeah.
after that.
I
Um,
love it. I love when people dress up and you're ready to have a good time and like celebrate together. Hosting events is definitely something we love doing at World of Women. Whether it's a large scale event like the gala or smaller meetups to create touch points with the community, IRL is so important. And we've actually even been funding local meetups since June 2022, and we've seen some really positive takeaways from it. So, as the community person at WoW, I'm very proud of this.
mm. And for people that may not know, a big, obviously, community and culture, obviously ingrained, inclusion ingrained in your culture. But if you don't mind, just for people that may not know, like I said, because a lot of people are very novice Web3, just learning about NFTs for the first time. People that own their WoWs have full rights, full ownership of it. Would you mind talking to someone that may
So,
not know what that means, why that could be important, how it could be utilized?
absolutely. So I actually do weekly onboarding sessions with World of Women where we basically educate people about what this is. If you go to lu.ma/World of Women, you can actually sign up for one of those sessions and I will be there to host you and to hold your hand. But the TLDR is, think of buying your WoW. It kind of looks like this, or your WoW-G as a membership pass to an ecosystem that's also doubling as a lifestyle club at the forefront of art, tech, and culture. Now, the benefits that you unlock with this membership is that you get access to a powerful network of artists, creators, and builders, but you're also getting IP rights to this artwork. Now, what that means is that you have complete ownership of the art and you can monetize or use it for any of your personal ventures. Like, for instance, I use my WoW for my newsletter. I know holders who have like their own coffee brands with their WoW as the photo. I want to give a couple of shout outs here actually. Maggie from the Book of Reverie, she has her own digital IP. Her WoW is called Reverie, and she has a whole book around it. She had launched handbags with Reverie on them. I want to give a shout out to Sakari Smith, who's also in the VeeFriends community, and he kicked off this thing called Cyber Green Juice, which is a very healthy green juice with clean ingredients in it. And he used his green wow G for the branding. And then I want to give a shout out to Serene from the Elysium, whose husband is active in the VeeFriends community. She started her own mental health and wellness initiative, and her wow is the face of it. So there's endless things that you can do with your IP. We've seen a lot of holders do it, and we very recently also launched an IP guide. If you go to WoW's Twitter, you'll find it easily. But yeah, that's a little bit about what you can do with building your IP. But when you buy your WoW or your WoW-G, you also get access to all our IRL events, meetups, curated perks, you name it.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for that. It's so cool just what people can do.
Mhm.
Everyone's got so many different niches, ideas, strengths, obviously. It really cool to hear those stories.
Yeah,
I, I,
possible. Sorry, the possibilities are endless.
I came across the wow effect. Uh, is that super cool because like anytime someone obviously content is king, like we know that this is day trading attention summer, but talk to me about it. Is that a podcast specifically for token
Yeah.
gated podcast?
The Wow Effect is a token gated podcast that we've launched for Wow members only. So we have this community hub that World of Women has built from scratch using our own tech called Patio. And Patio acts as the digital community hub for all things World of Women for our members. So if you want to know what's the latest with Wow, if you want to download your Wow in different outfits, if you want a transparent no background, if you want to see who are the community members that live in your area, you want to see who are the community members that have the same personality type as you. You want to see who
Hmm.
likes coffee as much as you or is also interested in like fishing or gardening or any other niche interest. You go to Patio to find these people. It is the ultimate networking tool for our community, for our artists, our creators, our entrepreneurs. And within Patio, we're trying to, increase the stickiness of the platform and create as much value as we can for the community and what they derive out of Patio. So it came up a while ago that, hey, why don't we create and produce original content using the people that we have in our network and make that information available to our community. So we've interviewed execs from Chanel, MasterCard, Publicis Media, Condé Nast, Christie's, and a couple of other really cool
Very cool.
companies. And we've basically interviewed them and gotten info that I don't think they would have shared on a public podcast like this one. Like,
Hmm.
they're very, very clear on some things not being super public. And a lot of them only agreed to do this because it was in a token gated capacity. So we
Interesting.
saw this angle and we were like, hey, if the whole point of World of Women is to increase representation and to make information available to our community that they wouldn't have gotten access to otherwise. Because, you know, people are like, things at the top in certain companies are not very inclusive, and we saw this as an opportunity to democratize like that information and to equalize the
Hmm.
playing field a little bit. So the Wow Effect is our experiment in doing that, and season 1 is currently live. There's an episode that went live yesterday with Angela from Publicis Media, and there's basically going to be episodes that go live every Tuesday. So if you're a Wow holder, log into Patio now. It's super easy. You can do it but with delegate.cash as well. You don't have to connect your cold wallet. And check out these episodes and let us know what you think, because a lot went into them and some really cool people have come in and shared insanely valuable info with us, and I promise that it'll be worth your time.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. So cool. What like just check out World of Women. Like the innovation. We're
Yeah,
talking June 12th, 2024. If you're listening to this in a month, they'll probably have something else. Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right
100%.
off right out of the fire. Real quick before we head into our last segment here, we talked about community virtually, literally this whole time. But to take a step back, what does that word even mean to you? Community.
Community to me means having a sense of belonging and frequent but meaningful touch points about things that I care about on a personal level. Um, yeah, it's just as simple as that, right? Like a sense of belonging, frequent touch points, and values that I care about. To me, any space or group of people that provides me with at least two of those three is a community that I want to keep going back to. And yeah, community is lovely, and it's my life's work in some ways. So I truly love it. I love anything that's related to people because I truly believe that we were all sent here to help each other and to elevate each other's lives. And we should take as many opportunities as we can to do that. At least that's what I've been trying to do. I don't know if I'm on the right path or not, but it's just my story and this is just how it goes. What about you? What does community mean to you, Rob?
Oh my goodness. No one's ever turned we've been over 55 episodes and no one's ever turned it around to me.
Well,
Community is to me, I can't answer succinctly, but the bullet points, if I'm formulating my thoughts, people that have aligned values, needs and wants, probably in that order, uh, that want to hopefully give more than they take in that ecosystem, however big or small,
yeah.
um, and community runs on those values.
Mhm.
Um, I
For
should have a well thought out answer like you though.
No,
Uh,
like, dude, this is literally what I do like 24/7, which is why I probably had that ready in my head. I don't think I would have had it ready otherwise. You're good. And I think that was a lovely answer, Rob.
and one more before we do our last quick bit. What character do you, Kashvi, need to spend more time with? What VeeFriends character?
Hmm. A VeeFriends character that I need to spend more time with. It's kind of basic. Can you take a guess?
Patient Panda?
Yeah. How do
Really?
you?
Because everyone could be a little bit more patient.
Yeah,
And
and
when you
I've
said
just,
basic, I think of like a main character. So
oh man, I just feel like
I
I
just
need a
nailed it.
little.
Really
Yeah, I feel like I
amazing.
just need a little bit of patient panda in my life right now because I just graduated. It's hardly been 2 weeks, and my mind is like already racing to what I want to do next with my free time. But it's not really free time because I am working 10 hours a day in Web3, but I still feel the need to do more even beyond this. So I'm just telling myself to be patient and to enjoy downtime a little bit and then think about other creative endeavors and things that I want to do. So, yeah, some patient panda time is good for me.
I love it. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm going to sneak in our last segment in the last few minutes we have. It's called Micro Macro Spitfire. So I'm going to fire a lot of quick questions at you. You can answer as general and the macro as you like, or get out your microscope and elaborate. So here we go. Micro Macro Spitfire with Kashvi. If we're following World of Women, I'm changing it from VeeFriends to World of Women. If we're following World of Women, getting into it for the first time, who is someone that is a must follow on X?
Nudes, he's our community relations advisor, and he's always posting cool stuff about World of Women.
Is he like the Jeremy Nose of World of Women?
I'm technically the Jeremy knows, but he's like,
Okay.
how do I explain it? He's like, I can't
The
think of
old
like a,
Jeremy Nose.
yeah, yeah, he's awesome. Yeah.
Okay. I love it. Favorite teacher you had growing up and one reason why?
Amanso, I actually hated him in the beginning, and he kind of hated me as well. He was my English teacher, and he was just like, he helped broaden my perspective quite a bit and to really get over myself when it comes to writing. And he helped me refine the way I write a lot. And writing's been an important part of my career because that's what I used to like freelance for. So, yeah, definitely him.
Favorite movie?
La La Land,
Favorite TV show?
One Tree Hill.
What's a secret talent you have that most people don't know?
I'm really good with eye contact and I can stare into people's eyes without blinking for a long time.
No, interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't
what
know if that's
is
a talent, but yeah, it's just, yeah.
it's a we'll call it a talent.
Yeah.
Favorite concert you've ever been to?
Favorite what?
Concert.
Oh my God. Most recently, Ed Sheeran. And before that, Coldplay in 2015.
Wait, didn't you have a thing where you met Ed Sheeran? Did I see
I
that?
did. I
Was that
did.
connected to the concert or is it separate?
Was that what?
Was that connected to the concert? Was that
It
part of the
was
concert?
it was connected to his visit to India overall. No, and like kind of the concert. Yeah, it was something to do with a celebrity chef in India, and then one of my friend is his talent manager, and then he had to curate guests for Ed, and I ended up being one of them. There's a whole reel
So
about
cool.
this story on my Instagram for anyone who wants the full version.
So cool. What's your favorite piece of VeeFriends memorabilia?
The gift code jacket.
What VeeFriend needs to be voted into the White House right now for the United States?
A VeeFriend character or a VeeFriend community member?
Ooh, good question. Character.
Conviction cockroach.
Bougie hotel or hiking, camping in the woods?
Bougie hotel. I'm not hiking.
Gratitude gorilla or patient panda?
Gratitude gorilla.
Would you rather have a 2-hour group dinner experience with Gary, so you and 9 other people, or a 15-minute one-on-one?
Me and 9 other people with Gary, because I want to know who those 9 other people are as well. And like, yeah, they're probably there for a reason, right? And I would like to build relationships with as many people as I can.
And if he was here right now and he had to answer one question honestly for you, what would you ask him?
Why did you give me the gift code? Was it entirely random or did you see something? What was it all about?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Kashvi, you are so awesome and so lovely. I'm so happy we got to carve out this time. I'm so appreciative that
Well,
we had it.
yeah, I'm so glad we finally had this time. For anyone that's listening, Rob and I planned to do this like 2 years ago, and he was an extremely patient panda when it came to just nudging me and to like finally making this happen. So, Rob, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your consistency with this show. It is such an asset in the VeeFriends community. We need more creators like you that are facilitating meaningful conversations like this one. It's been such a pleasure to spend the last hour with you, and I hope we get to do this again because I know that Corso has come twice, and now I'm feeling competitive and I want to be a repeat guest as well on the show.
Hey, you just say when, and I'm in, and I appreciate you so much. And yeah, guys, definitely follow Kashvi if you're not. Check out World of Women and all the amazing things. And then we'll see you at VeeCon.
See you at VeeCon. The time is wow, and I can't wait to hang out with everyone in person once again. Be sure to follow World of Women on Twitter and our calendar because we're definitely going to be doing a side event at VeeCon, and we're also going to be doing like a 30-minute stage thing. I'll keep you guys posted, but see
I
you
can't
and thank
wait.
you so much, Rob.
Take care.
Bye.